Now, what you're going to learn today has to do with two big domains: the domain of congregational studies and the domain of consulting tools. And in a given case, those two domains will overlap, and that's where our turnaround cases will fall. Not every client needs everything you know about congregations. They only need a relevant part of all you know about congregations. Not every client needs all you can bring in terms of consulting practices and skills. What they need is a selected set of practices and skills, and you don't have many times at bat with them. So the question comes, what of all that we know and is known, and what of all that we know to do, does this client need at this point in time? And that selection is the case crossover point. Now, what I would like to tell my consulting starters when I'm training is, if you have an outline of the things that you know that you're going to have to cover and deal with, it saves an awful lot of wasted time and motion. This outline is a simple gift to you. You sit down with this outline and you simply write a paragraph per point. And then you sit down with your client and you interview them and you add to the paragraph per point. And then you pray through that before you go into your final consultation. If you have this kind of an outline, you'll discover that this was worth the price of the trip. All the stuff that you're going to learn all day today feeds into one or more of these points. But when you get into an actual case, knowing that you have covered the whole waterfront will raise your sense of confidence that you're not going to mislead your client and that they're going to actually have a good outline. There's another side to this, not just the congregational side, but there's a personal behavior on the part of the consultant side. And when I'm going into a case, I have to retune myself each time so that I don't get dull. And the thing that I have to do is I have to ask myself, what is it that I'm going to be asking and looking for in this case? And what I've discovered is that if I don't have a fairly focused idea of what it is that I'm looking for, I will waste time and opportunity. Now, as I go in, the first thing that I'm looking for is something I can brag on. It's called appreciative inquiry, and if you're reading in that literature, there's a half a dozen books on that topic, appreciative inquiry. But when I walk into a place, I don't want them to be afraid of what they're going to learn from me. I want them to be glad that I'm there. And so I am trying to discover what Ken Blanchard taught us years ago in his Management by Walking Around. He said, catch people doing something good. As I go into a case, if they are in deep enough trouble that they've invited me there, then I don't have to worry that they're not reaching for help. But what I do have to worry about is whether we've set the term of the emotional contract such that they're having to resist me because I'm there as a critic instead of as a booster.